Hello everyone, today's video is going to be a top spring palettes video, and actually today's Easter and I hope everyone had a good Easter weekend. These are my top spring palettes. My main thing with spring are peachy tones and also pastels and like light airy neutrals and colors and such like that. I have two palettes that I would deem to be pastels, and the first one I did a look with, was it 2 weeks ago? I'll link my palette bingo, spring palette bingo with this. It is the Juvia's Place Garden of Juvia's palette. It is full with beautiful shimmers and beautiful mattes that just scream spring. This is my first ever Juvia's Place palette, and I'm very, very intrigued to try more. The second pastel palette is the Nomad Tokyo Harajuku palette. I did do a video all about trying Nomad, and this is the color story. So we have a row of mattes, we have a row of satin shades, and we have a row of beautiful, like, duochromatic, like this is like a yellow to pink, and then like this has a shift of like light blue, light purple. I cannot wait to do more spring looks with this palette, and just even the packaging screams like Easter to me, like the real cute springy. So when I think of spring and I think of pastels, these are the two palettes that I have. The next category of spring type colors that I can categorize for spring are like a softer neutral, softer color, kind of like a watercolor effect. And these two palettes kind of dupe each other. This is the Huda Mercury Retrograde. The packaging's beautiful, first off, but we do have soft color and soft neutrals. We do have pops of color. We have a peach shade here. You can do pretty peachy looks with this as well. You can bring out purples, you can bring out the blues, of course all of these pinks over here. To me, this is just a staple like spring type palette. Its counterpart is the Profusion Ethereal. I'm not so sure if these are still available, and this is actually what I have on my eyes today. I had these two blues, and then this on the inner corner, and then I used my Danessa Myricks Chrome Flakes for my lid. But this is the definition of peaches, but soft color. You have soft neutrals. Yes, these have similar shades, but to me there's enough differences to keep them both, and there's enough in the Profusion palette that Huda does not have to make it worthwhile. And I'm really thinking of like a lot of these like neutral brown type of colors. We have more blue options. This is a beautiful like darker teal. But yeah, really love this palette for the spring. I mean, I suppose this is also soft color as well. I just thought about it when I thought of the last section, which are peaches. I love peaches for spring, but this is the ColourPop Lost in Wonderland collection. They did a collection, was it last year, with Alice in Wonderland? This is a beautiful palette, not only in the packaging, but the color story as well. Like my main thought was this peachy color, but you have really light soft green, a nice pastel blue. We have some really pretty shimmer shades in here. Definition of soft color. I really enjoyed the looks that I have made with this palette. It is small, but it is mighty, and I'm not certain it's available anymore. When I think of spring, I think of this palette. Also, I don't think ColourPop makes this anymore, but this is the ColourPop Garden Variety palette. It's beautiful. The packaging, like look at that. It is just, like, they don't make palettes like this anymore. Like, I don't get excited for a lot of their releases anymore, But this is the inside. This is a Super Shock shadow, and it's pretty much dried up at this point. Like, it's still there, but it's really dry. I don't think they should put that formula in eyeshadow palettes because this can't close properly to keep moisture in. We have the soft neutrals. We have a lot of peaches. I would love to hit pan in like this peachy shade. ColourPop palettes take so long. Like, that is like the perfect peachy shade for me. This is top tier spring palette. I want to try and focus on this in April to make some really pretty looks with this. Those are my top 6. My top 6 palettes for spring. Erica Conjure made a, I think that's how you say her name, also made a, what did she do, 10 or 20 palettes for spring. I didn't agree with all of her options, but she did put the Michaela palette from Glamlight, and it has some really pretty, you know, glittery packaging that falls. She put this in as a spring palette. For me, with the intensity of the shades, to me this is more of a summer palette, but I understand where she's coming from for this to be a spring palette, especially these shimmers when they look at the light. Like, this reminds me of looking into a flower patch, like the daisies, the lilacs, the lavenders, you know, all of the flowers, and then you have, you know, the greens and the earthy shades. I see where she's coming from. I'm just gonna throw it in here as a like secondary type of palette, but to me, like, when I made my list, the first 6 was on my list. Of course you can do pretty spring looks with this palette, but I don't think of it as spring. But to each their own. I mean, neither of us do makeup based on seasons, but it's just fun to do these types of videos. We don't all have to agree. I mean, the Michaela palette is good all times of the year. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys come back again soon. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I hope you guys had a good Easter weekend, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.